Welcome to Connect to Joy. Your host, Carol DeChaine, is an intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and Marconic multidimensional energy practitioner. Her quest is to help you realize new possibilities, discover and release what holds you back, and enable you to manifest an inspired life filled with joy. Join us on this journey of transformation. Now, here's your host, Carol DeChaine.
Welcome, beautiful spirits. For some reason, the phrase best laid plans popped into my head from out of the blue. When I looked it up on the internet, it said the quote was adapted from To a Mouse by Robert Burns. And the actual saying is, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. And isn't that the truth? Things don't always go exactly the way we planned, right? So what do we do when things don't go the way we plan? Maybe we wish and we work for something and we plan and really try to get somewhere. And then either the plan shifts, something else gets in the way and blocks our way, or the whole thing falls apart. Or we just change our mind. Maybe it was too hard to do. So if things go wrong in your estimation and your best laid plans just don't come through, where do you go from there? How do you respond to that? Well, today I'm going to look at how you specifically respond to plans being derailed, either by being blocked or completely going off the tracks. I want to ask you how you feel when things seem to go wrong. I'm going to give you 10 things not to do and 20 things you can try. And then using some of those things in the 20 steps, I'm going to give you an 8-step action plan that really works for me. I want to get you back on track if that's what you want to do for your goals and your plans. So hopefully this 8-step action plan works for you as well, or you come up with your own action plan that you can work through from maybe some of the 20 things that I'll give you. And then, of course, we'll wrap up the whole thing. Thomas Edison once said, "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." Let me start with, how do you specifically respond when things don't go as planned? So listen to these and see if any of them resonate with you as your truth. If something blocks your path when you really want something, on your whole plan, wish, desire, or your whole plan, wish, or desire falls apart and doesn't seem to happen at all, how do you handle it? Do you give up? Do you blame others and then give up? Do you take a break and then decide later whether to continue or not? Do you pull yourself up and try the same thing again? Because maybe it just wasn't the right timing the first time, or things weren't aligned properly, or maybe you did something a little different. Or maybe you look at what you're doing from a different perspective and try to figure out how to make a change, or if you even want to make a change. Depending on the situation, sometimes you might respond one way, or maybe you might respond a different way. And it depends on how important that plan is that you were laying out there, that you wanted to have come true. I also want to look at, how do you feel when things seem to go wrong? Because there's a lot of different ways we can feel. And it might depend on how much you want these plans to happen. Do you feel disappointed or frustrated? Now, these are the first feelings most of us have, and I think it's pretty normal. Do you feel angry and maybe blame someone else or criticize the way things went? Maybe you even blame God because things didn't go the way they should have, for whatever reason, at least the way you think they should have. Maybe you get worried or you have fear that things won't happen, your plans are just completely done. You might feel empty because you think your dreams are over. You could also feel inadequate, maybe helpless, or even get depressed. And you could get overwhelmed or feel resentment, sadness, or like even an utter failure. These are all natural, but staying stuck in those heavier, denser emotions for a long time are not natural. Look at yourself and see how you respond and what type of emotions come up when your best laid plans hit a snag. Does your response or the emotions you feel serve you in moving forward and finding maybe a different path than you thought for your plans or goals? Or do they hold you back? Now I want to move right into those 10 things not to do when things seem to be going wrong with your plans. Most people don't want to be told what not to do, but I think these are pretty obvious. And you might do all of these or one of these, but just if you're aware you're doing it, then you have that choice and awareness to move out. So number 1, don't panic. No matter what comes up, don't get so emotional you freeze yourself up and get carried away thinking there isn't a solution or a way forward. So the first thing not to do is don't panic. Also, don't get fixated on who did what wrong to the exclusion of a solution or a learning lesson. In other words, don't point blame or criticize anyone and then get stuck there so you can't move forward. That does absolutely nothing but draw more negative energy to you. The third thing is don't only think about what isn't working. Look at the part that is and be thankful that, oh, look, this part's really great. How do I get through this particular section to make this plan happen? Number 4 is don't turn to drugs or alcohol to fix it. You know, it won't. Although, we may all want an occasional drink to get through an ugly time, but don't stay there and get stuck. Now, don't hibernate for any length of time. Hiding from the world won't fix anything or change the situation. I know a number of people, including clients, that's what they do when things don't go right. They don't necessarily give up, but they put it on the back burner and they just hibernate. And they don't talk to anybody about it. They don't work on it. Or if they do, it just goes in circles in their head forever. So that's how they're hibernating. The 6th thing is don't be mean to yourself. Listen to what you think and what you say about how you were part of the issue. But find some kindness for yourself since you're only human. We are all only human. We make mistakes or lessons, as you might want to say. We create our own lessons. So look at that and see how kind you can be to yourself about what happened. But don't be mean to other people either about criticizing and blaming. Just look at yourself and make sure that you're being kind and you're not thinking you have to be perfect. The 7th thing is just don't spiral out of control with why me or what if. Feeling sorry for yourself is fine for a short time, and we, again, all do it to a certain extent, but try not to dwell on it. Don't dwell on the why me, why did this happen to me, what if this hadn't happened. Don't look back without having a reason for looking back. And number 8 is don't let other people make you feel worse. If they criticize or tell you that your dream never would have worked anyway, just let them have their opinion. You don't have to make it yours. And if they're trying to make you feel better by saying, oh, well, it just wouldn't have worked anyway, just say, hey, thanks, but don't say that. I may want to try this again and I want to know you're behind me. Or you don't have to say anything but that except just ignore it totally and just say, I don't need that person in my life, or I don't need that opinion and they can keep it to themselves. You don't have to let them make you feel worse. The 9th thing not to do is don't disregard your intuition. If you have ideas or how to move forward, don't get so bogged down in negative emotions that you don't hear or feel it and ignore those whisperings that you may hear, because there's a reason for those. And you want to make sure that you don't totally disregard it, because that is something that can really move you forward if you listen to that intuition or your higher self or your guides, whatever you want to call it. Some people just think of it as intuition. And lastly, and most importantly, don't give up. If you really want something, find a way to move forward even if you have setbacks. So those are the 10 things. Let me go over them really quickly again. Don't panic. Don't get fixated on who did what wrong. In other words, don't blame or criticize. Don't only think about what isn't working. Don't turn to drugs or alcohol to fix it, except maybe an occasional drink if you need it. Don't be mean to yourself. Don't spiral out of control with why me or what if. Don't let other people make you feel worse. Don't disregard your intuition. And, of course, lastly, do not give up. Now, let me go over the 20 things you can try when things go off and they're not quite the way you want them to be. First is just stop everything. Stop in your tracks and breathe. Just breathe. The breath will help you open up your heart, your mind. It'll calm you. So allow that to happen. The second thing you can do is to take a break. Get away from the plan and the issues. Let the thoughts and worry go for a number of hours or a whole day and see what ideas come up. Think of something else. And the third thing is to go take a walk. Being in nature has a way of calming us, grounding us, and sometimes even getting us back on track. You can hang out with friends who are fun to shift your focus. You might find great ideas come up when you take that break, like I said before. Hanging out with friends who do good fun stuff, whether it's going, I don't know why bowling is coming to mind, but whether it's going bowling or going for a walk together or going and having, I said don't drink, but having a drink together, just going out to have some fun, go out, have a meal, hang out with your friends, have maybe a game night or something, and stop focusing so much on that particular plan at that moment. Take that break. You can, of course, meditate or pray about where you are and how to move forward. And I'll talk about more of that in the 8-step plan. Number 6 is to forgive. Forgive anyone, including yourself if you need to. If you or someone else did something you consider stupid or awful or just stopped you being able to have that plan you wanted, find a way to let it go so you don't slide into bitterness. That's only going to hold you back. The next one is to realize you've been in this situation before. Not necessarily an exact situation, but when something didn't happen exactly the way we wanted, it was a passing thing. It didn't stay there for years on end necessarily. Most things 5 years from now, you won't even remember what the problem was. Or you'll look back with hindsight and go, thank God that happened, because now these other amazing things happen instead. So realize that more than likely, whatever you're facing right now isn't a permanent problem for this plan, that you can find another way around it. Do get up and jump around, meaning work out or take a walk. Movement is great. If you move your body, do it whatever best way works for you. But by doing that, you'll shift your emotions, you get those endorphins, you'll feel like you're in a better place, which can automatically make you start thinking of solutions because you'll feel like you're better. You'll have more positive emotions and you'll feel like you're in a better place, like I said. The 9th one is to find gratitude for the things that you're doing well, even if they have nothing to do with your plans or goals. See the positive, and then you'll be able to see the positive in what worked with the plans that you've done so far. And the next one is know that no matter how you feel, you can get through this. Feel what you feel and find that inner knowingness that you can handle what's happening. It's hard sometimes to find that inner knowingness. Sometimes we need to do that meditation or reach out to a higher power. You can also find someone who believes in you. And there's a lot of different things you can do to be able to know that you can get through whatever this is. Now we're already up to number 11. The thing you can do here is to stay focused on solutions instead of going over and over on the problems that came up. Now, if you focus on the problems long enough to see what went wrong and then focus on the solution, that would be a positive step. But if your mind keeps going in circles and round and round and round about what went wrong and you feel stuck, that's different. One thing that really helps me is to write out everything that frustrates me. I write out everything about the situation or about what somebody said or whatever it is. It can be incredibly cathartic, and you'll probably have some great aha moments while you set everything out. I've done that where I've actually wrote to a friend who I thought said some things that didn't feel right to me, and I got really upset. And I wrote it all in a Word document, and I was like, okay. Now all those emotions are out. All those negative emotions are out. Let me see how I can make this work now. And it was so great. I've done that a few times once I figured out how well it worked. So writing out everything that frustrates you is really good. And the 13th thing is to be more flexible. I know most of us, when we have an idea in mind, we don't want to move it. We know what we want, including me. Maybe your plans need to be adjusted or tweaked. See if that resonates with you when you think about it. Because sometimes the flexibility, as my girlfriend says, semper gumby, always flexible. But sometimes we can't be so flexible because certain things have to go a certain way. But realize that sometimes the divine power will show you a different way to do it, and it doesn't have to be the exact way you think. So try to be a little more flexible, but don't bend so far that you're totally on a different track unless that's what you want to do. Also, you can take a step back and look at the situation from kind of a third-party perspective, trying to leave out all the emotions. See if you can find a solution, or at least a different perspective that way on what you're facing. And then, of course, we have those ideas and those possibilities show up for different ways to go around maybe a block that came up. You can find a friend to talk about it and brainstorm the ways to see what you can do. If you talk to someone and get 2 or 3 different minds together, it's amazing how great that can be because you have ideas that none of you would have thought of necessarily on your own. and definitely ideas you would not have thought of by yourself if you weren't being that extra flexibility, because they have that third-party viewpoint that maybe you can't get to. We're already to 16, so be open to other possibilities. I've kind of mentioned that. If we're closed-minded, we may not hear something that someone says, and it might have sparked an idea if we were in a better frame of mind. If you're open to other possibilities, maybe you hear something on TV, or you see a billboard somewhere, if they still have those, that sparks an idea that you go, wait a minute, oh my God. Or some advertising on Facebook or Instagram or something that you go, oh, why didn't I think of that? The 17th thing is to just ratchet up your courage. Make it bigger, get it stronger. Don't let what may seem like failure deter you. Henry Ford had an interesting quote that says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I'm not sure that actually is his exact quote, but that's the way it's phrased on the internet. If you shift your mindset about whether you can or can't make this happen and keep trying, you'll be surprised how your courage and your bravery shifts and allows you to try yet again, even if you've tried it 5 or 6 times, maybe in a different way, but definitely moving forward and thinking that you can do something is huge. If you can find the lesson in what happened, the more we learn, the easier it is to find a path to what we want and who we want to be. And the lesson may be an incredible blessing that stays with you all your life. And it could also be something that appears negative, as most roadblocks do to our plans that we have, those best laid plans. But it doesn't mean that we can't learn a lot about ourselves, about the people around us, about what we truly want in life by having those roadblocks come up. And those roadblocks can also change us in a depth that can impact us the rest of our lives. Well, we have 2 left here. You can look at what's happening and separate them into what you can control and what you can't. Try to release what you can't control. Let it go because, hey, you got no control over it if you realize you don't. And adjust your plan or goal a bit if necessary to find a way around whatever is blocking you that you have control over. Think about it. Figure out a way that allows you to move around whatever obstacle's there if you have control of the situation. And even if you don't, sometimes we can work our way around it by not changing the block, but by moving, kind of dancing around the outskirts and maybe taking the longer way, but still getting where we want to get. And of course, number 20, as I always say, get outside help if you need it. Try a life coach for making plans and putting them in motion, because that's what we're trying to do if you have a life coach that's trained. Because putting things together, figuring out the way to move forward is not what life coach won't do it for you, but they will help you understand and ask you really pertinent questions that help you get a timeline together or the whole plan in place, the steps to take so that you can really know what you're doing. And of course, you can do therapists. If you find it's a more deep-seated issue that stops you from moving forward, you can talk to a religious official like a rabbi or a priest or whomever will help. And if you want to think about it this way, you can go back to meditating and get outside help by talking to your higher self, to God. There are so many things you can do. And those are 20. And let me see if I can say them really fast. Okay, stop everything and just breathe. Take a break. Take a walk in nature. Hang out with friends to have fun, meaning shift your focus. Meditate or pray. Forgive whomever you need to. Realize you've been in a situation before and it was just passing through. Movement will help your physical body to shift your mindset. Find gratitude for what's working. Know you can get through this no matter what it feels like. Stay focused on solutions. Write out everything that you can. Be more flexible. Take a step back and look at the situation from a third-party perspective. Find a friend to talk about it and brainstorm. Be open to other possibilities. Find more courage so you can move forward. Look for the lesson. Look at what you can control and what you can't. And be really clear so you know how you can move around it. And of course, get outside help. But if you want an actual action plan to help you through, I find the next 8 steps work for me when I feel stuck or things aren't going according to my best laid plans. There are, like I said, 8 steps. Most of them are pretty easy and some are pretty fun. So some of these are in the 20 things you can try. I've just gone through, but this particular order seems to work for me. And there's only 8 instead of 20. And a couple of them you don't need to use, a couple of the steps, if they don't seem appropriate for whatever situation you're working on. So the first step is to take a few deep breaths and check in with how you feel. Where are you? Are you depressed or angry, disappointed, annoyed? Just be aware. A lot of times mine is disappointed and frustrated, but that doesn't mean that's where you're at. So take a few breaths and feel what that feels like. Where are you emotionally when you realize that your best laid plans are not working out? Things seem to be going wrong. Next, I generally pray and then meditate. That's like one step for me. It's part A, part B. I pray by basically whining and complaining to God, because that's how I do it. I'm telling him how things didn't go the way I wanted. I might cry, but I generally get all the emotions out. And that's kind of what I do when I pray. And then I meditate when I feel peaceful. If you don't want to do that, writing out your emotions can work just as well, which was one of the other 20 items. The third step, if I need it, this is one you can take out if you don't, is to take a break and find something fun to do, or something that will totally take me away from what's stuck in my brain and those negative thoughts, especially if I'm spiraling and I can't seem to find a solution and I'm just getting more and more sad and depressed. You can turn on, for example, a stand-up comic on TV or watch a sitcom, make you laugh. You could also play with a child or a puppy, which has a way of shifting our focus, how we feel. You could go hang out with friends to laugh and talk about something other than the issue. See what happens. Maybe listen to their issues. Maybe that will focus you on something else. So the third step is to take a break if you need it. The fourth step, when you find some peace or a fresh perspective, take some time and think about the goal or plan and what happened. Accept what's the reality at the moment. Don't ignore it or resist it. Just accept, okay, this is the way it looks like it is right now. What went right? And what seemed to go wrong in this plan that you had? Is there a way to adjust what you did or your attitude and try the same steps that failed again? Hopefully with a different outcome and with a different attitude or perspective. There's lots of things that you can do, and maybe the fresh perspective just gives you new ideas. The fifth step is to look at the goal or plan itself and see if you still want it exactly as it stands. Do you want to make changes or tweak the goal? Maybe the outcome of the plan, that aha, we got there moment, is like, well, actually, I have these ideas because that block came up. Maybe it showed me a piece of the plan. I don't really want that goal, all of it. I want part of it. Now, for example, if you thought you wanted to be a doctor, but you ended up fainting at the sight of blood, you probably will need to adjust your goal. Maybe you can go into research instead, or psychology, or be in medicine or another helping profession in another way. There are always ways to tweak your goals if that's what you want to do. But don't give up too soon, of course. The sixth step is to find the strength to try again, or to do something a little different. If you feel like a failure, it can be harder to find the courage. But just know that you aren't a failure. You just need to find a different way to go about doing what you want. After all, Thomas Edison tried over 10,000 times to make the light bulb before it worked. It doesn't mean we have to try 10,000 times at something, but hopefully we can at least try a few times if things are important to you. Lord knows, 10,000 times, I probably would have given up. Thank God Thomas Edison didn't, so we have the light bulb and a bunch of other patents that he has. The seventh step is to get some help if you need it. Whether you brainstorm with a friend or two, get a life coach to help you figure out what blocks you have and how to get through them, and then adjust and tweak your plan, or you go to a therapist for those more deep-seated issues, then just feel what might resonate with you from those choices. Don't feel you have to go it alone. And then number 8 is to take that first step to get moving again. Even a baby step can get you back on track towards whatever goals and dreams you have. Let me give you those 8 steps really quickly again. So first, take a few deep breaths and check on how you feel. Next, pray and meditate or write out everything the stuff that upsets you and maybe any ideas you have that move on. Find that peace. And if you need it, the third step is to take a break and get away from whatever the issue is so that you can come back to it later. Do something fun or at least something that distracts you. The fourth one is to get some fresh perspective and look at the goal or plan and find out what happened, accept the reality, and look at what went right and what seemed to go wrong and kind of look at it a little more in detail. And the fifth step is to actually look at the goal or plan itself and see if it needs to be changed, because maybe the outcome, the way it's not happening, maybe that outcome isn't exactly what you wanted anyway. Maybe a better outcome to this plan will be in your mind, and then you adjust the plan accordingly. But look at it knowing that you have those options. You can be semper gumby, always flexible. The sixth step was to find the strength to try again, knowing that you are not a failure. Seventh step is to get some help if you need it, which of course is a step you can leave out if you don't need. And then the last step is to take any steps you can in the direction and start moving again towards the dream. Once you start getting your momentum up, things may start moving again. But sometimes the first step is the hardest. So try the action plan and see how it makes you feel. Leave out a step or two if you don't need it, but think about it and see how it makes you feel. If these things work for you, or look back at the 20 things that I've already given you and see if maybe you want to plug them in to make it more personal for you. Today we've covered a lot of ground about best laid plans and what to do when things seem to go wrong. We've looked at how you respond to plans being derailed, either by being blocked or completely going off the tracks, how you feel when things seem to go wrong, 10 things not to do, 20 things to try to get through when things go wrong, and a specific 8-step action plan to get you back on track that I use and some of my clients use. And you may also find that you want to tweak that plan a little bit if you see, oh no, that piece won't work for me. Oh, but one of those other 20 things or something else you come up with would be better for you. I mean, you ultimately choose how you react when things go wrong, when you have plans and goals. Whether you wallow in anger, disappointment, grief, or some other heavier emotion, or pull yourself up and find the courage to try again. Just don't feel you failed if you stay in that anger or disappointment for longer than you think you should. Everyone has to take the time they need to move through something. But if you're stuck, just know that you have a choice and you can find a way out with some help. Some of the lessons that are the best are when we find a way to move through uncomfortable emotions and situations faster and with more grace. But that can take some time to do. And some of us may feel we've never succeeded at that. But that's okay. Being human means we have a lot of those emotions. And it doesn't mean we will succeed, but it doesn't mean we don't get better with time at shifting and being who we want to be. Finding a way not to do those 10 things I talked about and to do some of the 20 things can take some time and major effort, especially when we have life-changing issues that go the way we didn't expect. But some practice will help you get through anything that goes wrong with your best laid plans. I want to share a couple more quotes with you to see if they can inspire you. This one's another Thomas Edison. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Just imagine giving up too soon by one try if this plan, this best laid plan, is really what you want. Another one is defeat will not destroy you if you do not doubt the power to try again. That's, and I hope I say her name right, Lailah Gifty Akita. And here are a couple of ones I find kind of funny. The first one's from M.H. Alderson. If at first you don't succeed, you're running about average. Just know that you're human. The next one is from Gabrielle Zevin. You try again, you fail better. Think about that one for a second. So your failures get better, meaning maybe you get closer to your plans, or they get more creative, or you can learn a lot from failure as long as you keep going. And lastly, I've talked about feeling stuck. And this one is, Germany Kent has some really funny ones. And this one is, if you feel stuck, move. You're not a tree. You don't have to be stuck and inflexible. Some trees bend more than others, but you're not a tree. You can move and grow and change. So don't give up. Keep at your dreams and your goals, but shift and tweak them if you need to. Stay persistent, but be flexible and see what happens. Thank you for joining me here today. If you'd like to know more about intuitive, spiritual, or life or business coaching with me or Marconics multidimensional energy, please check out my website, www.connecttojoy.com, and follow me on Instagram at connecttojoy. All of them are connect and then the number 2 and then the word joy, all shoved together. So until next week, be courageous and reach higher. Just take one step at a time on your journey. Get the help you need and get out there and find your joy, because you deserve it.
Thank you for listening to Connect to Joy. If you love the show, make sure you rate, review, and share this podcast. And subscribe so you never miss an episode. Contact the host, Carol DeChaine, with questions and comments, ideas for future episodes, or if you would like to become a guest. And remember, transformation is a journey and not an end destination. So be kind to yourself, because you are already enough to have the joyful, limitless life that you desire.